Good evening, everybody.
Kavod Harav, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. Okay, it looks like we're doing 24th. So it says over here in the tour, Tane Ahavad Benyamin, Kriya. This rabbi, his name, what's his name? Im Sheachore Am Sheachore Konim, Enam Bichlal Bracha, right? So this is an important thing to know, that you have to be standing in the right place. So what does that mean? You got to be in front of the Kohanim. But if you're in their back, you don't get the blessing. That's what it says. So it says Bet Yosef, Gam Zeh Sham. It's also within the Gemara that we just mentioned. Ve'aminan ala pshita arich be'ape gutze la mefaske teva lo mefaska mechitza mai tashma de'amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi afilu mechitza shel barzel ena mufseket ben Yisrael le'avihem shel Shmai. So over here in this Gemara, it's talking about, what can interpose between the people and some other people there that are not in that place. They're in a different location. So the Gemara answers over here, nothing can separate between them. Even what? Even an iron partition, right? They ask the question, what about on the side? So what does that mean? We already said, right, that if you're behind the Kohanim, you don't get the blessing. What about if you're on the side? So you're like equal with them. Tashma, so it says, come and see. Tanan, we learned the Mishnah. His intention was to sprinkle in front of him, and he sprinkled in the back. Or the other way around. Hazato psula, it's pasul. So then he says, "Lefanav veiza min hatzdadim." What about his intention was to be in front, but he did on the side? Shebefanav hazato kshira. So there it's kosher. Pirush Rashi, al hatzdadim shebefanav tzdadim sheyesh mimenu velo letzdadim שישנו ממנו לאחור. ואחי נמי העומדים בצדדים של כהן. So he says, right, Rashi, that here also, in our situation, when you're standing on the side of the Kohen, do you get the blessing if you're on the side, you're equal to him? It's considered to be like you're in front. So being on the side is considered to be like you're on the front. But if you're like towards the back, it's like the back. So we'll see what that means, right? Now he explains. Klomar the Am Shelifnei HaKohanim, the people who are in front of the Kohanim, Be'enam Mechavanim, but they don't have intention, Neged Pneihem, Ela Meshuchim Letzdadim. Right, so I'm sorry, I didn't say it right. One more time. That if they're not in front, is it right? Rather, they're on the side. Abu Bichlal Bracha. So they do get the blessing. The Im, the Am Shachorei HaKohanim, the people who are behind, they're not mechavanim, but they don't have intention. Kineged Achoreihem. I'm sorry, not intention. Again, right? They're not towards the back. Ela mishuchim letzdadim. They're on the side. Enon bichlal bracha. They're not included in the blessing. Rabbeinu katav stam. So Rabbeinu the Torah wrote the am shebetzdadim harehen bichlal bracha. People who are on the side, they're included in the blessing. V'chein katav gam ken Rambam. Also Rambam says this. V'lo chilku ben tzdadim shemimenu ulhalan letzdadim shemimenu ulachor. They didn't differentiate between the sides. What does that mean? On the side, but like towards the back, or on the side and towards the front?
Kavod Harav, could we say that the right side or the left side?
I know that we're not talking about the right or the left.
So you said the side of the front and the side of the back, correct?
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
I think that he's talking about, like you're not exactly on the side, a little bit back, a little bit front.
Okay, thank
But
you.
we'll see, right? We'll clarify a little bit more as we go along. So he says, "Mashma desvir lo dechol shehem b'fnei hakohanim, afa pi she'enam mechuvanim keneged pneihem, ela meshuchim letzdadim pshita debichlal im לפני שכהנים הם, ואותן שהן אחורי הכהנים, אף על פי שאינם מכוונים כנגד אחוריהם, אלא משוחים לצדדים פשיטה, ובכלל עם העם שאחורי הכהנים הם. ולא יצטרכו, right, so what he's talking about is like this, right, that you're not like directly in back, but you're like, side and back. That's what we're talking about. So says Bet Yosef, so says Bet Yosef like this, right, that if you are towards the side and also behind, so you're considered to be behind. That's clear. So what does that mean? You don't have to be directly behind. Okay, so then he goes on. So that you don't have to really exclude. That's obvious. So So the only question really is when you're like truly on the side, like not towards the back at all. So the question is, are you still getting the blessing? So he answers him that since it teaches the din, the Izal, the din, they sprinkled on the side, which was also on the front. But look at the Izal, the din, and he didn't teach about the back of the side of the back, whatever. This is what means to say, that any kind of side thing, right? Whenever it's on the side, since it's considered to be like you're in the front. וכן אמרו בירושלמי, that's what it says in בירושלמי, פרק אין עומדים, this פרק, הדא אמרה העומדים מן הצדדים בכלל ברכה. So you see from there that a person who's standing on the side does get the blessing. ולא חילקו בין צדדים לצדדים, so they don't differentiate between types of sides, right? Whatever. Okay. And he goes on, ולאחוריהם, אם הם אנוסים, הם בכלל הברכה. If they're behind, if they can't move for some reason, there's no way for them to move, they get the blessing anyway. The Amar Simlai, בית הכנסת שכולה כהנים עולים לדוכן. Because this rabbi said, right, that when you have a synagogue, which is all kohanim, they can go up and bless. וגם זה שם דמקשה דרבי סימלאי, דתניא, אם עם שאחורי כהנים אינם בכלל ברכה, משנה אחד הניסה, אחד אינה הניסה, פירש רש"י, עם שבשדות הניסה, שבמלאכתן אינם יכולים לבוא. So there's also another thing that they bring up here, which is that, you know, sometimes what happens is that some people can't come to the shul because they're not able to for some reason, right? Let's say the guy is working, you know, he's got a job, whatever. So there, in a case like that, since he can't come, there's no way for him to come, so we say that he does get the blessing, even though he's not there, and even though he's not in front of the Kohanim. Okay, so let's see the Shulchan Aruch on this. So it says Shulchan Aruch, Am she'achorei kohanim, the people who are behind the kohanim, einam bichal bracha, they don't get the blessing. אבל מלפניהם ובצדדיהם אפילו מחיצה של ברזל אין לנו זגד. But if they're in front or on the side, that's fine. Like they do get the blessing. So before we go on, I just want to see how the Mishnah Berurah explains this. Yeah, so the Mishnah Berurah says a good general rule, right, to sum up this whole thing. He says like this. You have here pretty much three categories, right, that we're dealing with. One is that, they're behind the Kohanim and also on the side. So he says, right, it's clear that they do get the blessing in a case like that. Because after all, they are behind. I'm sorry, I didn't say it right. Not behind, in front, right? In front. When they're in front and on the side, they do get the blessing, it's clear. Because after all, they're in front. Also, he says, right, when they're on the side, like, do side. Like, not in front, not in back. Really like equal with them. So there, we just said that the rule is that they do get the blessing when they're on the side. And what about if they're in the back and on the side? So there they don't. So these are the three rules, basically, right? That we need to know. So what's a general rule that we want to make sure you keep this? The general rule is that don't be in front behind the Kohanim when they're blessing. You're not going to get the blessing like that. What's the reason why, by the way, that you don't get the blessing? Because it seems like you don't really care, the fact that you stay behind them, it's like you don't really acknowledge it so much, so therefore it's like you're being negligent. So since it looks like you're being negligent, Rabbi said you don't get the blessing like that. Okay, that's one thing. Now we're going to the next point, which is says the Shulchan Aruch, nami, but it says even if they're in the back of them, imhem anusim, if they're forced to go on Besadot, for instance, let's say they're working, right? So they can't be there. Shem terudim b'melachtam, they're not able to come. They do get the blessing, right? So a person who happens to be working, he can't go to the shul, he's working now. He does get it because he can't go. So this gives you, by the way, an answer to a very important question. The question is like this: what about a person who's praying Amidah and he can't move? He can't move in the middle of the Amidah. So let's say he's behind them. Does he get the blessing or not? So according to what we just said, he does, right? Why is that? Because he's anus, he can't move. There's nothing he can do. So there's not considered to be any disrespect, like in a case like that. So therefore, he does get the blessing. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next one. If you have any questions, let me know. So it goes on here, the two, I'm sorry. The two goes on, the Amar Rabbi Simlai, בית הכנסת שכולם כהנים. When you have a synagogue, everybody's a Kohen there. עולים לדוכן למי שמברכים לאחריהם, שבשדות, ירושלמי, עיר שכולם כהנים, עולים לדוכן למי מברכים לאחריהם שבצפון ושדרום. ומי העונים אחריהם אנשים יטף ומוכה לה בגמרא בשן שם אלא יוד כהנים. So it's an interesting scenario, right? Where you have a synagogue or a town, everybody's a Kohen there. So then the question arises, who are you really blessing, right? They're all going to bless what's going to be, right? And who are they blessing? So answers the Gemara there. They're blessing the people who are in the field, right? What does that mean? The people who are working. Yerushalmi, right, as we said, there's also another question. What about if all the people in the town are Kohanim? So then who are they blessing? So he says they're blessing people in the north and the south. So, they're blessing other people who are not there. So then it asks, right, and who answers them when they're, in the synagogue and blessing, right? Everybody's blessing. So who's left there to answer? So he answers, right, women, children, right? That's it. So it says here, it qualifies this in the Gemara, the only one there's only 10 kohanim. But if there's more than 10, so then if you have more than 10, there's going to be 10 who are going to be blessing, and the rest are going to be answering, and so forth and so on. So there is some kind of a allotment this way when you have more than 10. Okay, that's already something else. Let's go to Yosef. So it says that Yosef gives a source for this, Perek and Omdim, right over there in the Gemara, Halacha Daled, in Yerushalmi, Umokela b'Gemara, qualifies the Gemara, Omar Hadi Amar Rabbi Simlai. You need to say that which Rabbi Simlai said, Ir Shekula Kohanim, that if all the town is Kohanim, Olim Leduchan, Mokela b'Gemara, so qualifies the Gemara, Didan, and not the Gemara, the She'en Sham Ir Yoter Me'asar. That's only when you have no more than 10 Kohanim. But if there's more than 10 there, Haytarim al Asara Olim Leduchan, the ones who are more than 10 go up for the blessing. The Asara Onin Acharem, and the 10 will answer. Amen. Rashi explains, when you only have 10 there, if some of them go up, since you don't have 10 over there, they're not really considered to be blessing by itself. So therefore they go up and bless the people in the city, not in the city, I'm sorry, the fields. And even though the priestly blessing is 10, but you need 10 people, the Kohanim also count the minyan. Shani Hatam the Yisrael Hem, but it says it's different over there because Onim Amen, because the Israel is people who are Israel, not Kohen. They answer Amen. But here, the Kulahem Kulam Kohanim, but since they're all Kohanim, Shen Benehem Yisraelim, there's no Yisraelim there. Lachashiba Lebekat Kohanim, they're not considered to be a blessing of priests, Nechudai by themselves, La'anot Amen to answer Amen. Ela in Ken, unless Ha'onim Mehem Asara, unless there's 10 people who are answering it. Okay, that's the Bet Yosef. Let's see Shulchan Aruch. A little
Kabbalah
confusing.
Harav.
The language is a little confusing.
Kabbalah Harav.
Yes.
In where it says there are all Kohanim, then who's going to wash their hands for the Kohanim? Another Kohen?
That's not such a big question because, we only use Leviim if we have Leviim. If you don't have, you don't have. You can't use it, right? So then somebody else has to do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes, thank you.
So, let's see the Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, so it says like this Shulchan Aruch. Bet HaKnesset, shekulam kohanim. Like you have a synagogue. Everybody's a kohen there. Are you going to find this today, by the way? Not usually not, right? Because we don't have so many kohanim today, like they had in those days. So you're going to be hard pressed, to find a town which is all kohanim. It probably doesn't exist today, something like that. But anyway, right, we're talking about a synagogue here. Im en sham ela yud kulam olim deduchan. So if you have only 10 people, what they do is they all go up to bless, right? Can you imagine? They all go up. There's nobody left. There's no. So
who are they blessing?
I'm sorry.
Who are they blessing if they're all going up to bless?
That's the question. Who are they blessing, right? So he says, who are they blessing? They're blessing the people in the field, right? Who didn't come to the shul. The workers, the people who are working. So they bless them, right? But that's only when? He said, right? If you have only 10 people, 10 kohanim. So then they all go up. Who are they blessing? The people in the fields, the workers. But who answers Amen? Hanashim v'ataf, right? The ladies and the kids. So you guys better go to shul, right? If you have a town like that, if you have a shul like that, you better go because they're gonna need you there. Okay. Yeah, today it doesn't exist pretty much, this kind of thing. But in the old days, for sure, it did exist. Because you had like towns which were like all kohanim. That was pretty common in those days. Okay, so anyway, but if you have more than 10 people, right? More than a minyan, so there, what do we do there? The ones who are more than 10, right? They go up to bless. Who are they blessing? The people in the fields. And who answers Amen? Hanashim v'ataf, again, right? The ladies and the children. I'm sorry, I didn't read this right. I skipped back. I went back. It's one more time. Let me read this one more time. If you have more than 10 people, the people who are more than 10, they go up to bless. And the 10 will answer Amen. So meaning what? 10 Kohanim. Okay, any questions on that? A little bit tricky there, huh? Okay, very good. So I guess we'll stop there. Chazak Baruch, thanks for coming. See you tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. Be blessed with wealth, health, happiness. Pray for the soldiers, our brave, valiant soldiers who are doing an incredible job there. Wiping out those cockroaches, all those Nazis, almost nothing left anymore. They already conquered the whole north. Now they're going to go south, probably, and finish off the job over there. So there's going to be a lot of extermination, very good, Baruch Hashem. Lots of spray, lots of extermination spray going on there. Okay, very good. We'll see you tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. Chazak ve'ematz, Leila Tov.
Thank you so much, Kabbalah.
All the best.